In this video, we are going to take a look at computing the population mean and the sample mean and comparing the notation for each one. All right, so first of all, the first part says that this is a population. Now, this looks like a very small population, but whatever. The symbol that we use for the population mean should be on your note card. So number one, 3x5 index card that you are allowed to bring to the test. So mu stands for population mean. So this is the average for the whole population, for everyone. Okay, now this is also, I can ask you, is this a parameter or statistic? And it is a parameter. Why? Because it's a measure of the population. So Greek letters usually reserved for parameters. So if you see a Greek letter, that would be a parameter. All right, but let's go ahead and compute. So we already know it's going to be mu. It's not going to be this x with the line on top, which we'll talk in a second. So it's going to be mu, but we need to know what it is. Okay, so how do we do that? So we are going to move over here on the top right where my mouse is showing. So you can see this right here on the top right of the page. And it looks like a page. And that's what you're going to click. Okay, and this is where our Desmos calculator is located. So Desmos graphing calculator, especially on the test, do not rely on your own calculator. You cannot use one. If I see it, you are going to be in big trouble. You can get a 0. Okay, you cannot use your own calculator. You can only use Desmos. So please don't even get used to it because you can't. Okay, so this is the option that you want. It's called sidebar. Okay, this is the one. Make sure that the page is maximized, because if you don't see that option, if you only see the other one, that means that maybe your window is too small, so you can't fit it. So then you would only see an arrow. You want to maximize it to the whole page, which is what's going to happen on the test. So you're going to open that, okay, in the sidebar. Now, I'm going to position my mouse over the blue top, and I can move the window where I want. And then if I position my mouse on the bottom right, see how I can resize the window? That's also very convenient. So what I want is to save the data into a list L. So I'm going to say L equals, okay? Then I need square brackets. Now, if the data is vertical, you do not need square brackets. Desmos will automatically add them for you. But if the data is horizontal, you will need them. So we're going to put those square brackets, which are on your keyboard where the letter P is, right next to that. And then we're going to highlight the data. When you highlight it, make sure that you are starting at the very, very beginning and ending at the very end over here without an extra space. So if you insert like an extra space, it actually might not paste, and then you would have to type it by hand, which I don't want that to happen to you. Okay, so it's going to be Control C, and then we insert the click inside, and then Control V. If you are a Mac user, it would be Command instead of Control. So it will be Command C, Command V. Now, to find the mean, whether it's population or sample, doesn't matter. We use the command mean. So mean of L, and we know that that's 879. And now remember, we talked about that that's going to be mu and not x with the line. Okay, now let's go to the next part. Now this part says, now your data is a sample, compute the mean. Okay, so what's going on with the sample? Sample mean is denoted by that x with the line on top, which is x bar. We call it x bar. Okay, that's sample mean. What you need to know is that this stands for sample mean. So I can ask you, I can give you on a test like a matching exercise where you would have to decide, okay, what is this? This is x bar. It's a sample mean. I can also ask you, is that a statistic or a parameter? And it is a statistic. Why? Sample statistic. Anything with the sample is statistic. So we already know it's going to be x bar. We just don't know which particular one. Okay, so let me save it into a different list. So maybe let's call it M, whatever. So let's use the square brackets because the data is horizontal. Copy paste that here and just put mean of M. Okay, so that's 2364. So that should be x bar equal 2364.